Welcome to another week of talking with different professionals in our security awareness community. I'm really excited to speak this week with Lisa Plaggemier. Did I get it right?
Yes.
Okay, fabulous. And we're going to be talking about, no more hackers in hoodies and using Optimism as opposed to FUD. And I'm really excited about this conversation and kind of see, what ideas and how, new approaches that we can use in our messaging. Uh, Brent said he's going to grab his hoodie right now. As long as you don't hack, then you're clear. Um, so, Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. Would you just take a moment just to kind of, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, and then we'll just go from there.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me this morning. I appreciate it. My name is Lisa Plaggemier. I'm the executive director of the National Cybersecurity Alliance. We are a nonprofit that was founded in conjunction with the Department of Homeland Security around 19 years ago, I believe.
Oh,
We are
wow.
the co-founders of Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So we've been joined at the hip with DHS ever since. Now we work with the organization known as CISA, the Cybersecurity and
Mhm.
Infrastructure Security Agency. So
Okay.
we get support from them. We're a grantee of CISA, and then we also have a lot of wonderful sponsors and board members that support our organization and our mission. And really,
That's
we're
neat.
there to just educate end consumers and small businesses
Hmm.
about good cybersecurity hygiene, good habits. And we also help folks that work in the training and awareness industry by fueling them with a lot of good resources and information that they can use to run their programs.
It's fabulous because actually, when I got into cyber as a marketer a little more than 3 years ago, I had no clue what I got thrown into when, they suddenly was like, okay, you're going to go work in cyber. And uh, your website was one of the resources I stumbled across and went to religiously to try to help myself learn and understand what is this thing.
Good. That's good to
Even
hear.
yeah, so it's a great website that I've also recommended and used resources a lot of times. So I know you'll put out some really great content. Um, so thank you for that as an end user, both for professional and personal use.
Good.
So let's talk a little bit about the title, right? When I spoke with you before, I was kind of asking you like, what's one of your pet peeves that you wish people would talk about and address that maybe isn't being focused on as much. And so that was your answer. You're tired of the hackers and hoodie messaging. Like, let's move away from that. So let's get started. What first off, let's kind of talk just a little bit about that mindset, and then how we can address the solutions.
I think I think there's a lot of scary stuff happening in the world. I think that if you're paying
Definitely.
attention to what's happening in cybersecurity, it's pretty frightening, right? And
Right.
we have the propensity to talk about it in terms that are scary, that express that you know this is the state of affairs is not good, and so our own fears and stress about the situation frequently come across in the way we talk about it to others. So whether you're a
Hmm.
CISO giving a board presentation or you're a training and awareness person working on messaging for your company, it's really, really, really easy for us to channel that fear through to our audiences.
Right.
And we've relied on that for too long, I think, as a motivator, thinking that if we
Right.
just use shock and awe, if we just scare people, we'll get their attention, we'll get more resources, we'll get them to stop doing the things that they shouldn't do that cause a lot of the problems.
Right.
The problem is that fear is not a great sustainable motivator. Um, I like to say that if fear worked as a motivator, you'd see advertisers using it all the time. Every commercial we see on TV, every Super Bowl ad would use fear as motivation because there's
Right.
billions of dollars at stake there, and if that worked, then every ad agency would be running as fast as they could to scare us into buying products,
Absolutely,
and
they would. Yeah,
it just doesn't. It just I don't think it's the best
it's not
motivator
effective.
for lasting behavior change. And that's where the
Right.
images of the hacker in the hoodie, the very spooky, ominous images, come from. I think,
Right.
from that desire to use fear as a motivator.
Yeah, I think, and we have, I think, Hollywood a lot to thank for it, because it is, how do you make something look cool, right, on
Yeah.
screen to keep people's interest. So that's definitely something we're combating. So if we could get some Hollywood people involved in our mission, I
Yeah,
think
and I
we could
think the
go
mainstream
a long
media
way.
as well. So when I
Mhm.
do, I do relatively frequent press interviews, a lot of them for television,
Uh-huh.
and so they'll record a segment with me, and as I'm talking, maybe if something happened and they want to put it in the 6 o'clock news, a local school had a ransomware attack or something, and as I'm talking and explaining things and trying to use layman's terms and not be
Right.
scary, um,
Right.
I just know that when they produce their final segment, they're going to overlay my voice with pictures of hackers and hoodies, or a close up of a motherboard, or binary floating across the screen, or
Right.
somebody's fingers on a keyboard. And they're going to use all that imagery that makes this sound all very mysterious. And what does binary floating across the screen mean to somebody like my mom or my kids? Does that
Right.
help
Exactly.
them to change their behavior? Does that inspire them to enable MFA? Does that it's not effective.
Right. Not at all. It actually distances you, right? Because
Right.
that's foreign
It
to me.
obscures it.
So I'm going to tune it out because I have no idea how to address it or how to even
That's right.
begin to combat it. So yeah, it's a really good point. I hadn't quite thought in that perspective.
It's
Exactly.
obscure. It's obscure, right? If I see a
It
binary
is.
floating across the screen, and that's not relatable to me, then and I would suggest it's relatable to a very tiny portion of the public,
Yeah.
then I've absolved myself from doing anything about it because it's out of my control and it's not relatable to me, and so it's not meaningful, and so I'm not going to take action.
Right. No, that's a really great point. Um, so okay, so we know kind of what our challenge is, right, as security awareness professionals in getting the messaging out. So avoiding just the typical, even visual representation, right? That unfortunately, if you go to the free sites, right, for images and Pixabay, and you type in cybersecurity, that's what you're going to get a lot
That's
of
what you
times.
see.
So it's thinking about looking at it from the end user perspective, right? What are they seeing and how are they interpreting it? And what do you want them to do with it, right? What's the message you want them to take away? And it's not fear and despair.
Right. I
you know.
mean, when I've worked in different training organizations, and since I've been at the National Cybersecurity Alliance, we try to show just pictures of everyday humans using technology, right? Just
That's yeah.
a kid with their phone, or a parent with a laptop, or somebody in an office, in various demographics and various settings, because those are more realistic. I also don't like the overly happy people using their technology with a giant smile plastered on their face, but you can find enough images that are more relatable than
Hmm.
a close up of a motherboard.
Right. That I think that's a great point. So what about like in terms of messaging, right? To kind of guide those, the listeners out there, what are some things to stay away from, or that just really irks and that you see is used too much? And then what is some messaging we can use to replace that with?
Yeah, so we did a report last year called "Oh Behave." It's
Uh-huh.
available on our website, staysafeonline.org. And
Okay.
we surveyed 1,000 people in the US and 1,000 people in the UK. We're repeating it again this year. It'll be out in a couple of weeks. This year we
Oh,
added
great.
1,000 people in Canada to the research. And what we
Nice.
found last year, and I am pretty sure we'll see the same thing this year, is that people are frustrated and intimidated by cybersecurity. And I think
Mm. Yeah.
that's because our fear messaging has worked. we have succeeded in intimidating people.
Right.
Um, so if we don't want that, what would be the opposite of that? And I would suggest that that's empathy for the end
Hmm.
user. That's optimism. That most
Right.
people, when they use technology, they use it because it's added something to their lives. It's either made them more efficient at work. If you're old enough like me to remember the days before email, we can get a lot more done a lot faster than we used to. Um,
Uh-huh.
we can be in touch with a lot more people a lot easier.
Right.
there's all these benefits that technology has brought to our lives. And likewise in our personal lives, right? We keep in touch with old high school friends on Facebook that which we couldn't do before social media. We might find a new job through LinkedIn, or get in touch with a colleague in a way, an industry colleague in a way that we couldn't before. So there's all these benefits. So most people, if you're not in cybersecurity, you approach technology from the perspective of the benefits it's brought to you. And so that's a positive thing. And when we
Right.
walk in as cybersecurity professionals and tell them that they need to be very, very afraid, that is counter to the way they look at technology. And so rather than setting ourselves up to try to counteract what they know as all these positives, um,
Hmm.
I think we have to lean into that same optimism, lean into that same positivity, rather than trying to counteract it, rather than trying to fight against it. We need to use that to our advantage. So,
Right.
so talking to them about how they're not helpless in the face of
Hmm.
cyber attacks and cyber criminals, how just doing a few simple things can make a huge difference. I mean,
Yeah.
imagine if we all used MFA and we all knew how to recognize if our MFA is being phished.
Yeah.
um, if we all could make that one change, that would make a massive dent in
Right.
global cybercrime numbers, right? So so if we could talk about those things as being quick, as being easy,
Mm.
not frustrating people, but empowering people,
Right.
and they're kind of the icing on the cake of technology, right? Like you use technology to do all these good things. There's just these few little things more that you need to do that'll keep you safe while you use technology. So I think rather than trying to fight against all the positivity that people already feel and the convenience
Hmm.
that they enjoy technology for, we need
Right.
to capitalize on it.
Right. Definitely. I think, and wording is so important, right? Language
Mhm.
is so powerful. Gabby, I think Gabby had a nice little tagline: security awareness is a benefit, not a chore.
Yes,
Right. And the benefit is
I
that,
love that.
you save time for not,
Mhm.
having to, now try to get your account back. You save
Right.
time and stress, and like you can list all the different benefits that they get. And just like in marketing, when you're looking to get a message out, you have to stop and think, well, in communication, period, right? It's all about communication. You're looking at how to at the audience. What is it that you want them to walk away with, right? You have to start from that first and then build your messaging from there.
Yeah, how about
Otherwise,
peace of mind? How about we tell people they'll feel better if they do these things? They'll have peace of
yeah,
mind rather than being concerned or frustrated or worried or
right.
scared.
Yeah, and then just defaulting to, well, I'm not going to do anything because I don't know, or it's just
Right.
too much, it's too big. Yeah, which is exactly the feelings I had before I started working in cyber and learning, learning these steps and learning, oh, this is a problem. But
Right.
I think it also goes back to, you're talking about, the cyber professionals come in and they're like, oh, no, 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 don't do this, don't do that. You should be scared. You should be very afraid. And it's kind of like the nurse. If you ever had a nurse friend, they're a little more hyper aware of, oh, don't do this, don't do that, and beware of this and beware of that. Or just the overly protective mother or father, like parent figure that, like, because we know what could
We're the
be.
germaphobes of the technology
Yeah.
world. Yes.
Yeah. So it's learning to kind of scale that back and start again in how you approach it. Um, so have you seen like some examples of some positive messaging, either your own organization, of what works, what doesn't work, or even in your just other organizations you've seen that maybe is really memorable or a great success story for that?
Yeah, I think the young folks are an interesting demographic, right? Kids who graduated
Right.
during COVID and are just now in the first couple of years of their career, or college students. That demographic of young adults is can be really challenging because they're moving really
Mm,
fast and they grew up with
right.
technology and they're more trusting of it. Um, I think gamification for that demographic works really well. I've seen examples just from my own kids. My daughter graduated college during COVID and got a job at a large organization that has a really mature security training and awareness program. And they gamify on a regular basis catching fish. And
Okay.
you earn points. If you catch all the fish, you earn points to their, company store where you can buy. I mean, I think she got a tent to go camping and she wants a
Oh,
hammock,
wow.
all these things,
It's a
right?
nice
So
start.
you get points. Yeah, you get points and then you can go spend them on merchandise. So
Nice.
that has worked. She talks to me about that all the time. It's anecdotal evidence from one 25-year-old, but I think for that demographic especially, that's really, really effective, and that's associating it with a positive. Um,
Yeah, definitely.
so any kind of contest like that, or gift cards, things like that, people love that. People like to be
Mhm.
rewarded. At the very least, recognize them, even if it's not monetarily.
Mhm.
If somebody catches a nasty fish in your organization, send out an email, thank that person, copy their
Right.
supervisor, maybe put them on your portal or internal social media, call that person out, recognize them for what they did,
Right.
and thank them for helping to protect the organization. So I think just saying thank you. It seems really, really simple, but
Goes a long
oftentimes we
way.
just forget that, or
Yeah.
the SOC is too busy to respond to people who reported fish or what have you. Find a way to do that, to do something, even if it's not
Mhm.
consistent. I think it's really, really important to recognize people who are doing the right thing.
Really is, it's that positive reinforcement, right?
Mm.
Um, going back to the parenting analogy, instead of saying no, no, no all the time,
Right.
really focus on the positives, and it does. It really does have an effect. I was speaking with Dr. Alexander Karlamov, and he does research in behavioral science, and he was focusing on kind of there's four kind of categories. He said really there's only one category that that fear has the fear tactic has a little bit of you know um, impact on,
Efficacy. Hmm.
and that's the only, and then that's the person that is completely oblivious. They have no awareness at all, right,
Yeah.
of the danger. But that again, he says it only goes so far. All the other categories of individuals who have some level of awareness and risk allowance, um it's positive. It's the positive reinforcements, it's the positive messaging that has a greater and longer lasting impact. So it really is it's so important. You also work with kind of the end user, individuals. And I think that might be interesting to talk a little bit about because, as many awareness programs are starting to do is incorporate the home,
Hmm.
right? Even for businesses, because, it's being cyber safe for your company is no longer just a 9 to 5, it's all the time. So what do y'all do, with individuals? Do you see any difference in how to approach that messaging, or or even just focus for that to help
Yeah, I mean, even yesterday we did a webinar on cyberbullying,
Oh,
with
okay.
tips for parents and teachers and school administrators, and we have a cyberbullying kit that's out there right now that you can download all kinds of assets, social media assets, and articles. And
Oh, wow.
so we approached it from every angle. If you're a kid and you're being bullied, or you see somebody else being bullied, we encourage you to report. And we have content out there for kids on how to handle it and what to do,
Hmm.
and telling a trusted adult and who should I report to and things like that. We made a infographic that's like a flow chart on when
Oh,
you
wow.
should report and who you should report to. And
Great.
then, because not all these situations are equal. Um,
Hmm.
and then, of course, we have tips for parents and school administrators and people like that. And in addition to the webinar, which is recorded and will be available on our website. So a lot of parents tune in to things like that. Those are, take a look at your employee population. A lot of them are parents. So
Yeah.
doing things that can help them protect their kids, their families is really important when that will get eyeballs. The other thing is a lot of people of working age, not only are we caregivers of our children, but we're caregivers of our parents, or we're approaching
Absolutely.
that dynamic. And that generation struggles a lot with technology. They want to use it. They want to keep up. They want to be able to FaceTime with their grandchildren, all those things.
Right. Right.
But they definitely need help. They do have a healthy suspicion, but when they are defrauded, it is for much higher dollar amounts than younger people because they have more to lose. And
Right.
some of the scams take years to unfold, but have
Wow.
huge payouts for the bad guys. So think about things like romance scams, where a bad guy might be courting their victim for years before they actually are able to compromise them and make off with their life savings. So it's some of those stories are just gut wrenching.
They are.
We've produced in the past a series of videos called "Mom Don't Click That," which is a series of videos where we're talking to older folks about their technology challenges. The stories are really cute and entertaining, and those are short little videos on our YouTube channel.
Oh, that sounds great.
We have tons of content out there to help families save holiday shopping, tax time tips,
Right.
romance scam tips, like how to use those type of dating applications safely, like Match.com, etc. Yeah, we've tried to cover every single topic we can think of on staysafeonline.org, and we just revamped the website completely this summer, and we're working our way through overhauling and updating every single page. And believe me, when you're trying to cover every topic that there is to help people stay safe, there's a lot of web pages. So
It is. I was just thinking that, working on our own website, like
and
that's
all
a
of our
job.
all of our
Congrats.
articles on different issues, they're all available to, I mean, you can scrape anything you want off there. You can plagiarize to your heart's content. We don't mind. We'll actually be flattered. So if you see something on there, or an article that's available for download, or just a web page of content article on a certain topic, copy it, edit it to make it appropriate for your organization. You don't have to footnote. Everything we put out there is free and available for anybody to use.
That's amazing. And I will include links to the different areas on your site of some of the things you've mentioned here in our rewrite that we'll do after this to put up with recording as well. So
and if
anybody
I'm going to put a plug out there for being a champion. If you haven't signed up to be a champion for Cybersecurity Awareness Month, please do. And if you don't want your organization listed on the website as being a champion, you can drop us an email to info@staysafeonline.org, and we just won't add you to the website. Some companies have a problem because they need all kinds of, they've jumped through a million hoops to have the company name listed there, and they just don't want to do that. So we're fine with that too.
So explain what a champion is. What is being a champion?
Yeah, so a champion for Cybersecurity Awareness Month, you can sign up as an individual or an organization, and you can either have or not have your name listed on our website as a champion. You have to sign up every year. It doesn't carry over from year to year. What it gets you is a whole bunch of free downloads. So there's infographics, animated infographics that are just a minute long that have some cute jazzy music with them on different security topics. We just added another one this week. So I think there's 5 of them available now. There are social media graphics, suggested articles for company newsletters, things like that on different topics that are associated with this year's Cybersecurity Awareness Month. It's not too late. If you have 0 plans for October.
So I was just about to say.
If you haven't done a thing and October is just a few days away, we have a whole kit on how to run a campaign. We have all the assets that you need. As I said, articles. We're adding in a couple of days, we'll be adding PowerPoint presentations that you can use to go give to your kid's school or your parents' retirement community. We're putting out presentations for different demographics. So if you want to carry the message into your community, we would welcome that. So we've got a ton of resources. They're all free. If you sign up to be a champion, you'll get an email and check your spam folder in case it goes to spam. You'll get an email that has links to all the different things you can download.
That's fabulous. Yeah, and I've used that kit before in the past too, so it's really great. It's a great resource. You said one thing about taking it out to community, and before we went live, we were talking a little bit about, you were saying all the Twitter noise that was going on last year from cyber professionals who were kind of begrudging Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And your response is?
Well, so yeah, we all know that angry security people like to be on Twitter. And so last year on Twitter, we saw a few people at the end of the month saying, I'm sick and tired of Cybersecurity Awareness Month. That's my dumb guy voice that I use with my husband. My husband calls that my dumb guy voice. And so we decided this year that we would make those presentations that I mentioned that you could go give. We have one for younger children, older kids, the general adult population, and then one for retirees. And they have the same core messaging, but they work in different issues and different angles, different tone of voice for those different demographics. Right. So what we want to say to you this year, if you're a cybersecurity awareness professional and Cybersecurity Awareness Month isn't your thing because every day is Cybersecurity Awareness Month for you, then take those presentations and go be a part of the solution. Volunteer to give a talk at your kid's school. Volunteer to give a talk to PTA or a local parent group. Volunteer to give a talk at a retirement community or a local club or organization or your place of worship. And in order to make that easy for you, we're creating PowerPoint presentations that are not branded. They don't look corporate. They just look relatable to the average human being. And we have filled in the speaker's notes with a complete talk track. So you can edit that to make it sound more like you, but we recommend you just download one of those. Those will be ready at the end of this week. If you want to stay in touch with us to make sure you know when things like that are happening, get on our mailing list. It's at staysafeonline.org, and then you'll see those things as they become available.
That's amazing. I think those are really great resources. I'm excited to go check them out too. Mohammed asked if they could use it or they need further permission.
No permission. Just use it.
Right. Take it and run.
Yep, exactly.
with blessing, like
yes.
So that's wonderful. I think that's really, really fabulous. We are getting right close to the end of the session. And so we were talking again just about, kind of the messaging. What would you say if you wanted to sum it up in just maybe 3 top points that you wanted people to take away from this talk? What would you like them to take away? And
I would say be empowering and positive. Get more creative and stop using pictures of hackers and hoodies and use imagery that's relatable to normal human beings who aren't security professionals. And then this October, be a part of the solution in some way. Do something to give back to your community, your school, your place of worship, whatever organization you can. Carry the message to the masses. Use our materials and help those around us who don't know as much as we do about these issues and don't necessarily know how to stay safe online.
Right. That's fabulous. Well, thank you so much, Lisa. I really appreciate your time and insights. This was really a fun and conversation, and I'm looking forward on getting some of those resources myself and seeing what you've got as well. And thank you, everyone, for joining. And if you have any questions, you can connect with Lisa here on LinkedIn. And like she said, check out her site, staysafeonline.org.
Yes. Right? Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So take care and thank you, everyone. We'll have another meetup next week. All right. So be well. Bye.